Hello, cuties! How we doing today? It is time for my TBR game. But before I get into those spins, it's time to look at what I read last month. I did, in fact, complete it just in the nick of time, and even though I had you guys vote between two of the books, I ended up reading both of them anyway. In July, I ended up reading, like, the most books I've ever read this year, actually, in a long time. I broke 30 books. It's still technically July right now, and I'm hoping to finish at least one more. But so I ended up reading, what was that, 9 books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We ended up reading 11 somehow. I don't know how that happened, but we did. So, oh yeah, because we did the scavenger hunt. It wasn't the usual 8 spins. So, the lowest book on this TBR that I read was Midnight is the Darkest Hour, and I hated this book so much. I hated these characters. I hated how it ended. I thought it was just like, ugh. It was trying to be like 2 books at the same time, and they didn't mesh well for me. And I just, like, I understand why this book kind of has a lower rating overall on Goodreads. I really hated it. I wanted this to be something more, and it wasn't. And it just kind of was icky all around, and I don't think it handled a lot of what it was trying to handle very well at all. So, didn't like that one very much. Next up was a huge disappointment as well, which is Paris Daillencourt is About to Crumble. I normally love Alexis Hall's writing, but this one was not it for me. I found, again, every character insufferable and annoying and rude. And it's like it was trying to help Paris with this very severe anxiety disorder. It takes a while for us to actually get diagnosed with it, but we do get that diagnosis, which is nice. But we have this romance, and you're supposed to believe that this the romantic interest is caring about us, but at the same time they're really just trying to fix them. And when they're not being fixed, then they give up. And that was just such a hard thing to see. Someone with experience in that, and being the thing that can't be fixed, essentially. And kind of blaming that person without knowing what help they actually needed under the guise of saying you're helping. It was just like, it was a lot of triggering things for me. And also the best friend just actually being the worst out of them in general. Just be like, oh, this will help you with your anxiety disorder. Let me throw you into a baking show that's like the #1 baking show in the entire country. Like, what? What? No one consulting, nobody talking, nobody communicating, and then when things get really bad, people just kind of blamed Paris, and then Paris also, like, it took forever for them to actually, like, get any kind of help, and even when they get help, they still don't really do much. And at the same time, there were certain things that people were really blaming Paris for, which, like, it's not really Paris's fault. Like, that is really, really absurd. Some of the arguments I found were just absolutely absurd arguments. And it made me upset. Anyway, this book made me very upset. I think it would have benefited if we had a second POV and not just Paris's POV. That would have helped me maybe like our love interest a little bit more. But in the end, I didn't like anybody. So next up we have Until the World Falls Down. And this book, oh boy. This is marketed as a kind of labyrinth retelling where the main character is so desperate for love, essentially. And like, okay, relatable. But she gets cheated on by her boyfriend with her sister. And in the beginning, the way she handles this made me so unbelievably upset. Because I'm like, excuse you? With your credit card? Girl, sue. Like, you've got cases here. And it's the way it develops into this relationship with the Goblin King character, essentially. It's very, for me, it felt very, very unhealthy. I get what was trying to be done. I just don't think it was executed in the best way. This book is very, very smutty, but don't worry, I was warned how smutty this book was. It was incredibly smutty. It just felt like at some points that smut really was not where it would have hit if we really wanted to develop this relationship. I think there were some scenes that I'm like, that's not necessary here, and I don't think it's helping the plot otherwise than just being another smutty scene. So I think this could have cut down on how much smut was in it, and it would have been a more effective story if we had switched from smut being the connection to being something quieter and softer and stuff with them. That would have made it more believable in my eyes, at least. But for those who really like a lot of spice in their reads, you'll probably like this a lot more. I was kind of annoyed that that did seem like the theme of the book was no one will love you unless you love yourself kind of thing. And I hate that phrase so much because it's false. It's really false. And it just makes me so upset to hear it because it just places blame on that person to not being loved because they can't love themselves. And you're like, you know how hard it is to love yourself sometimes? It's really, really hard. Okay? Speaking of personal experience, it's really hard. And even when you do, it still doesn't happen. So I don't think that's the actual determining factor. It's a relationship. It depends on many factors. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox about that phrase. Next up, we had Check Please. And I was really hoping to like this more. The problem I had with this is because it's a problem I have with a lot of graphic novels in general and comics is that pacing is weirder for me. It's why I don't read them as much because things seem to be very, very quick. And I didn't believe the relationship at the end. It came out of nowhere for me. Like, I would have loved to see more pining moments, but we didn't have those things in our main character. Even our main character doesn't really talk about them as a love interest. There's brief mentions, but there was no like building yearning to that final reveal of they have feelings too. And I feel like it was just like a snap. Oh, by the way, it didn't feel organic to me, and which is why this one ended up so low. I need it to be organic, GMO free. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it didn't feel that way to me. I did read the second part of it because I only had the first volume and then I read the rest of it online. The second volume had a little bit more of it, but for the build up and beginning, it didn't hit where I wanted it to hit. So, oh well. Next up, we have The Assassination of Brangwain Spurge. This is a very funny book. It is a middle grade book, which is why it usually ends up lower, just because I don't relate as much. But it was entertaining overall, dealing with this elf that has to go into these other lands as kind of the guest and then keeps messing things up. I think one of my frustrations with this is no one really explained the rules to Brangwain Spurge. And Brangwain Spurge also, like, terrible ambassador, absolutely awful ambassador, which I guess is kind of the point, where they just keep messing things up. This could have benefited from being a little gay, because of the relationship between his host and himself. I feel like they had a really good friendship, which probably was more of the theme of the book, and like getting through differences and things like that. So it has those middle grade themes that are very important for those readers. I just think it would have been really funny if they became like the first goblin elf couple or something like that. It would have been great. But it was still very, very fun. Illustrations are also super fun in this, so I highly recommend if you do read this one. It's very fast-paced. Reading it, listening to it along with reading through it, just fully immersed in reading, because you get those good pictures to go along with the story, because they do kind of narrate it in the audiobook. So, all right, and somehow ending up this high on the list was the Book of G, even though the more I think about it, the more I didn't like this book. The things that I've already mentioned in like a longer, like there's a mini cozy review if you guys want to watch that to go into my full accounts of it, but discussing it more with people, there's a lot more of the problems that I had with this with how our G handles Charlie and the big reveals of the twist of it, and the fact that Charlie was unconscious after an injury when he discovers this and has the switch. Like, that's also a problematic thing as well. I think this is definitely a popular book for those who are more on the side of darker romance readers. It's not truly a dark romance, but it feels like it was going to be if it wasn't reeled in a little bit or reined in a little bit. But it wasn't for me. It wasn't the Gaston retelling that I wanted it to be. And that's a disappointment when you have certain expectations and they're not met, even if that's not what the author set them out to do. But I think it just leads to me wanting to write my own Gaston retelling where he's gay, you know, as it should have been, as Nolan intended. Sorry. I'm in that meme space right now. All right, next up is Broken Rain, which is the second book in the Odium trilogy. I unfortunately like this one a little bit less than I like the first one, and the main problem I have with this one is timeline. The timeline didn't make sense to me. Like, we're on this epic journey, and I did love like Justin and Aurelia's relationship and how it grew and how there was conflict in it. Granted, it doesn't do a miscommunication trope, but it does the withheld information trope, and that's also one that I kind of am like, oh, I'm tired of that. But it's a known trope that's used throughout multiple books and things anyway. But the main issue I had was timeline, because they are trying to race against the clock here to save Justin's little sister. who is deathly ill, and they need to get this cure. And they say at one point, we have 2 days. She probably has 2 days left. And then they're like, they get into this thing with the elves, and they're like, oh, you can't leave. You have to stay here, or at least it'll be 2 to 3 days at most. And I'm like, and they agree to it. And I'm like, wait, timeline, don't make sense. And they've done this a few times where they're like, oh, we have 5 days. And then she's unconscious for 5 days. And I'm like, wait, did I read this wrong? Am I crazy? I felt a little crazy while reading it. So timeline aside, which might have just been continuity errors, the rest of it I did really enjoy. I liked the characters. I liked the growth with them. I think we've brought in 2 characters near the end who are going to play a bigger role in the 3rd book. So I am excited to see them because I thought they were very interesting. But overall, like, it's a solid epic fantasy series. Like, it does give that vibe of like traveling through Middle Earth and through different things. It's like that vibe of a true quest kind of a book. So I definitely like it. I definitely will finish the series. I have the 3rd book on my shelf. But yeah, check it out. Just kind of check me on this continuity. I feel like I'm wrong now after having put it down, but I tend to feel crazy after reading a book where I'm like, didn't that happen? And then I can't trust my own memory. That's a big thing for me. I very rarely trust my own memory. So someone correct me if you've also read it. Next up, somehow also above this, is Game Changer. Now, I have a lot of problems with Game Changer because I do feel that when you have a book that has double-digit smut scenes in what is supposed to be a contemporary romance, I don't think it should qualify as a contemporary romance anymore. I don't think that Scott and Kip will last as a couple. I really don't, because I think the foundation of their relationship is physical attraction, and I need it to be more than that. I think that Rachel Reed tried to convey that, but I don't think it was executed well. I'm hoping the writing improves with the other book, because I know y'all want me to read Heated Rivalry, and the rest of the series as well. I want to compare, because nobody talks about the books after Heated Rivalry, unless it's the Shane and Ilya books. But I know there's like Role Model, and I've already forgotten the other. There's like 2 or 3 other ones that no one talks about, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because only people are talking about what happens in the show and not the books. So I don't know. And people are so obsessed with Shane and Ilya's story, which I get. And Shane and Ilya are the only ones that have a continuing like series within the series, which is a little unfair. If I was the author, I'd want to share all my babies equally. But anyway, but that's the main thing with Scott and Kip, is I don't think they're going to last. I still enjoyed it. It was still entertaining. I think that's why it's so high, because overall, yes, I was entertained. Was I skimming through all of the smut scenes? Yes. But I was entertained by the rest of it. Now my top 3, all rightly deserved spots. We have The Swan's Daughter by Roshni Chokshi. I really did like this one quite a lot. It gave me the vibes of like an old school Disney fairy tale. It really felt like something very nostalgic, and I liked that a lot. It felt also kind of Once Upon a Mattress is where it really shined for me, and I'm like, yes, anything that gives me Once Upon a Mattress vibes, I'm gonna love. And I did love this one a lot. I think we could have done a little bit more at the end, I would say. I thought we could just elongate it a little bit better, but I think its pacing was really good. I liked its characters. It's a weird, quirky world building too, where it's like Once Upon a Mattress meets like Neverending Story meets Swan Princess meets all these things. It's like, it's got a good amalgamation for it that are all the things that I enjoyed when I was younger. So it had this heavy nostalgic feeling to it. So I like that. Next up was then Thorn Season, which I was pleasantly surprised, because I went into this thinking it would just be another selection book, and it definitely was more than that. It had so much more plot going on than I anticipated, and I really liked it. Was so convoluted and complicated and stuff, and leaves on that kind of cliffhanger that I'm very excited and nervous for the sequel. So I feel like I can't even communicate properly all the things that I liked about this book, but I liked our characters overall. I was very invested in them and the plot and everything. Like, it was very interesting and very cool. So highly recommend this one. But of course, the number 1 book on this TBR, to shock nobody when this got on the TBR, is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. I love Emily Wilde. I love this story so much. Really, Heather Fawcett has done no wrong to me in any way, shape, or form. Got scared for a while there with Wendell, but I'm happy. I liked the characterization of like his sister that we meet. I thought that was very apt for like reuniting with a sibling that you do not connect with and has very different opinions than your own, I'll say. But I just like it so much. I also get so worried for our babies, for our animal baby friends. But I'm really happy with how this one turned out. And I'm like, I can't believe we're going to get a fourth book. I thought this was just going to be a trilogy. We're getting a fourth book. And I'm ecstatic about it, okay? I never want her to stop writing Emily Wilde stories because I love Emily Wilde so friggin' much. So, there you go. That was the July TBR and how it went. Let's get into how the August TBR is going to go. Hoping for a lot of audiobooks because it is Do Your Shitstorm. Let's look at that. First spin! Spin number 1. Ooh, a 2023 acquisition. Okay, so 2023 acquisition. This is a book I got in 2023. We got Midnight Strikes. Oh, it's very shiny. Midnight Strikes by Ziba Shahnaz. I've obviously owned this for almost 3 years now. I've forgotten what it's about. Here's what it's about. 17-year-old Aeneas just wants the night to end. A provincial outsider at the royal anniversary ball, she has no desire to rub shoulders with the kingdom of Bavaria's most eligible and pompous bachelors, especially not the notoriously roguish Prince Leo. But then, at the stroke of midnight, an explosion rips through the palace, killing everyone in its path, including her. The last thing Aeneas sees is fire, smoke, chaos. And then she wakes up in her bedroom, hours before the ball. No one else remembers the deadly attack or believes her warning of disaster, not even when it happens again, and again, and again. If she's going to escape this nightmarish time loop, Aeneas must take control of her own fate and stop the attack before it happens. But Bavaria's gilded surface bellies a rotten core, full of restless nobles frustrated with the king's power, discontented commoners itching for revolution, and even royals who secretly dream of taking the throne. It's up to Aeneas to untangle the knots of power and deception at the heart of the kingdom, if she can survive past midnight. Okay, I see why this was marketed as Cinderella meets Groundhog Day. That makes more sense to me. Very interesting. Also, I apologize if that's not how you say that name. I don't know what to do with the double dots above an I. I don't know what to do with that. I'm a linguist. I forgot. I've forgotten everything, by the way. Guys, I have a linguistics degree. Everything's gone now. Replacing that with a book from Book Outlet. Spin number 2. Oh, a TikTok. This might not be a filter because I haven't found a lot of filters lately, but we'll see what we end up with there.
All right, we're doing a bookish bracket, and we're going to try to get to one that I haven't read yet to decide the TBR. Now, I've read both of these, but I love, of course, Six of Crows. I've read both of these, and we love City of Brass. I've read both of these. Oh, no. Starless Sea is better. I've read both of these. Oh, no. Okay, I haven't read Lightning Thief yet. So we'll go there. Have I read Jade City? I don't think I've read Jade City. So we'll go there. I haven't read Game of Thrones. I do need to read Lord of the Rings. Hey. Okay, I've read both. But obviously, who do I like better? I do like City of Brass better. I'm so sorry. Oh, I love them both. I remember more from Legendborn, I will say. Okay, so I haven't read you. I don't want to read a Game of Thrones. I love City of Brass more. I need to read Fellowship. Okay, we're reading Fellowship. Yay!
Okay, the TikTok filter did me well, and we got Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. No, I've never read it. I tried in high school. My brain was not ready for it in high school. My brain was ready for the movies. It was not ready for the dry text. We'll see if I can do it now. If you don't know what Lord of the Rings is about, I guess I'll read you this. But, like, who are you? And where have you been? In ancient times, the rings of power were crafted by the elven smiths, and Sauron, the Dark Lord, forged the One Ring, filling it with his own power so that he could rule all others. But the One Ring was taken from him, and though he sought it throughout Middle-earth, it remained lost to him. After many ages, it fell into the hands of Bilbo Baggins, as told in The Hobbit. In a sleepy village in the Shire, young Frodo Baggins finds himself faced with an immense task, as his elderly cousin Bilbo entrusts the ring to his care. Frodo must leave his home and make a perilous journey across Middle-earth to the Cracks of Doom, there to destroy the ring and foil the Dark Lord in his evil purpose. And there you go. Replacing that with Shiritori. Spin number 3. Book Outlet. All right, and a book I got off of Book Outlet, but apparently have already unhauled probably during the move because I have access to it as an audiobook, is This Vicious Grace by Emily Feed. I hope that's how you say that last name. And here's what it's about. 3 weddings, 3 funerals. Alessa's gift from the gods is supposed to magnify a partner's magic, not kill every suitor she touches. Now, with only weeks left until a hungry swarm of demons devours everything on her island home, Alessa is running out of time to find a partner and stop the invasion. When a powerful priest convinces the faithful that killing Alessa is the island's only hope, her own soldiers try to assassinate her. Desperate to survive, Alessa hires Dante, a cynical outcast marked as a killer, to become her personal bodyguard. But as rebellion explodes outside the gates, Dante's dark secrets may be the biggest betrayal. He holds the key to her survival and her heart. But is he the one person who can help her master her gift or destroy her once and for all? We don't know. We'll find out. I literally don't even remember why I picked up this book. It doesn't necessarily seem like something I would read, but I don't know. I think it's just something I saw constantly, and maybe I will. Who knows? I mean, obviously I will read it, and we'll see. We'll see. Let me know if you've read this one. All right, replacing that with a thirsty vlog. Spin number 4. A 2025 acquisition. All right, and for a 2025 acquisition, we got an indie book, and that is Laertes, which I know is a Dark Academia Hamlet retelling, I believe. Here's what it's actually about. Laertes Belforest lives 2 lives, a wild, passionate one with his best friend studying classics in Paris, and a stifling existence in the Danish court where the mercurial Prince Hamlet constantly overshadows him. Now, in his last year at university, Laertes must decide the kind of man he will become. But who is he, apart from the huge personalities that surround him and the secret guilt that haunts him? When tragedy rocks Denmark, Laertes' questions are forced into focus. Like a Greek play, his story hurtles through love and wine, ghosts and revenge, towards inevitable catastrophe. This is set in 1920s Europe, and a poignant tale of dark academia sheds new light on Shakespeare's masterpiece, finally allowing Laertes to tell his side of the story. So, remix, everybody! Placing you with a book from Pango. Spin number 5. Ooh, a pre-ordered book. Yay! Okay, for a book I pre-ordered or am supposed to pre-order because I'm still reeled back on pre-ordering things, but this is one that I won in the Easter egg hunt, and that is Ignore All Previous Instructions by Ada Hoffman. So I haven't officially ordered a copy of it yet because I've had a weird relationship with pre-orders lately, but here is what this one's about. I do have the NetGalley arc, if that helps. On Callisto, a generative AI company called Inspiration owns everything, including all the media, and only Inspiration determines which stories can be told. Kelly has a rare and coveted job in which her autism is to her advantage. She precisely edits AI output into appropriate stories for Inspiration's massive TV audience. Her proudest creation is the pirate Orlando, a dashing do-gooder based on stories she used to tell friends. Re-enter Kelly's ex-boyfriend Rowan, the person Kelly based Orlando on. Back when they were teenagers, their relationship was a secret. Kelly had thought that Rowan, a trans man, was her schoolmate M, a girl. Rowan is tangled up in the black market after he needed to get money for gender reassignment surgery. He needs Kelly's help with something illegal. So now Kelly has to decide, will she risk the safe, tidy story of her life now for the world she once wished for? What would Orlando do? Passionate, dangerous, and tender, Ignore All Previous Instructions is a sweeping, poignant novel about censorship, forbidden love, and growing up. Woo! Super queer and fun! Replacing you with, the dreaded classic. Spin number 6. We really hit this. This has got to be weighted weird. Something's weird about that. Well, we put it to a vote for the Thirsty Vlog. I put a bunch of books that are already in the mix for doing a Thirsty Vlog, and y'all voted. It was a close call, but that time I got drunk and saved a demon won. It should be short and fun. Here's what this is about. All I wanted to do was live my life in peace. Maybe get a cat, expand my spice farm. Really anything that doesn't involve going on a quest where an orc might rip my face off. But they say the goddess has favorites. If so, I'm clearly not one of them. After I saved the demon Fallon in a wine-drunk stupor, all he wanted to do was kill an evil witch enslaving his people. I mean, I get it, don't get me wrong, but he's dragging me along for the ride, and I'm kind of peeved about it. On the bright side, he keeps burning off his shirt. Oh, okay. Okay. I own all 3 of these books, by the way, and I had the ARC for the other one, the newest one. I forget what it is. It's got a dinosaur on the cover. Hey, 2026 pick as a replacement. Spin number 7. Book we got from Pango. Again, another book that I unhauled due to having the audiobook, but originally did get it off of Pango, is Stardust in Their Veins, which is the second book in Castles in Their Bones by Laura Sebastian. Now, I was devastated by the end of Castles in Their Bones, and I remember how devastated I was. So I almost decided I wasn't going to continue this series, but we're going to do it. Because it was such a huge spoiler, I don't think I can read you the synopsis of this, but essentially, we have these princesses, or these young women, I don't, were they princesses? They're princesses now, at least, where their evil mother has sent them off, basically, to marry these men and essentially unalive them and take over their kingdoms. That's been her mom's, their plan all along. And then most of them end up falling in love with someone in that court or something, going on to that extent. And the 2 that I loved the most in the first book have a thing happen to them that I didn't appreciate and I'm really upset about. So, the ones I was most invested in. So yeah, I was really upset by that, but we'll see how the sequel goes. We'll see. Yeah, 2024. All right, final spin. The viewer choice pool. And for next time, we will throw a retelling on there. All right. And the next is from the viewer choice pool. So if you signed up for Her Kid 3.0, I had you guys recommend me a book. I will say, I think some people misinterpreted because a lot of people recommended me my own books. So either they didn't know it was me, or they thought it was like a general recommendation for everybody to read, and they were being nice and promoting my books for me. But trust me, I've read Hisvakak, I've read Unfortunately I Exist, and I've read Search for the Phoenix. So those are 3 of my books. If you didn't know, by the way, I am Stephanie Gillis. But it's okay. That's okay. It was a funny time. There were a few also that was there was one person I'm blatantly almost want to kick out of Her Kid because you told me to read all the Harry Potter books. And I think at this point you should all know how very against all of that I am. So I'm very disappointed in that person for writing that in. Just know you have the disappointment face on you. Okay, moving on. But I did the stats for it, and the most requested book for me to read was 13 of you did this one, and that is The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. Here is what it's about. In the waning years of the Azalea dynasty, the emperor is dying, the land consumed by famine, and poetry magic lost to all except the powerful. Wei Yin is desperate. After the 5th death of a sibling, with her family and her village on the brink of starvation, she will do anything to save those she loves, even offer herself as concubine to the cruel heir of the brutal Azalea house. But in a twist of fate, the palace stands on the knife edge of civil war, with Wei trapped at its center, at the side of a violent prince. To survive, Wei must harden her heart, rely on her wit, and become dangerous herself, even if it means becoming a poet in a world where women are forbidden to read, and composing the most powerful spell of all, a ballad of death and love. There it is. I have heard amazing things about this book. I want to own a fancy copy of it, but I don't currently. I do have the arc for it, though, so that will also help my Neck Alley arcs. So a couple of these, 2 of these at least, I have arcs for that I should have read a long time ago. There we go. I only own 4. 4 of the 8 do I actually have physical copies of, which is interesting. My, shelving situation and my because I've moved so much in the last couple of years, my actual physical library has gone down, but the TBR has not gone down. But haven't updated my spreadsheets to not include things that I don't actually own anymore. So definitely something I need to do, but won't have time to because craftathons are happening. Do Your Shitstorm is starting literally tomorrow for me. You guys will have already started by the time you see this video. So anyway, yeah, there we go. What are you guys reading in August? Let me know. I think I only have 1 actual physical read out of all these, which is nice for Do Your Shitstorm, and I can just craft and craft and craft away and have all good things happen. Okay, well, I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time, cuties. Bye! 17-year-old Aeneas, I don't know how to say that name. Am I on still? I am, okay.